Hey guys, Josh here from Matte Charcoal. So I have my reference set up here on my iPad next to, so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm drawing from. I will have the link in the description of the video for the reference, so you guys can pull it up yourselves if you guys want to follow along. Today I'll be using 2 by 2, or maybe 1.5, a little longer, a little smaller than 2 by 2 inch cutout square from this paper. I think it's like a drawing paper, or maybe like a, I'm not sure, like a cardstock. And I cut out a square so that I can be able to use it as a stencil. I'm also going to use probably just the Pan Pastel. This is called Pan Pastel. You can find it on Amazon, stuff like that. It's just black Pan Pastel. And if that focuses, whoa, maybe not. So this is black Pan Pastel, and I use it for drawings because it merges well with charcoal, and I can kind of use it to just make other drawings. This is an 18 by 24 piece of Strathmore charcoal paper, or drawing paper, not charcoal paper, and a soft palette knife that also you can find from Pan Pastel with a foam tip. I used old one. There's barely any Pan Pastel left, but I could make it work. So let's start drawing with this. I use it kind of like a palette knife from painting, or kind of like a brush too at the same time. I'm going to get an idea of where everything's going to be. And my plan is to make a geometrical portrait that fades into the squares. So the lower face, it's kind of like, I guess like a signature style that I've gone with for a little while now. I'll show you guys how to do it, or just how I go about doing it. I'm just trying to get centralize the portrait for the most part, a little bit more to the left because he's looking right, she's looking right, so it'll just make more sense that way. Block in these shadows, and I'm squinting as I look at my reference, and I'm not worried about the small strokes. I'm worried about the drawing as a whole, or the drawing as a whole, and how the values stand out and how the values compare to each other, as well as the proportions. So you can see it's starting to come alive a little bit. Just kind of blocking in where everything goes, and then maybe cover it a little bit lightly so that I can get a nice skin tone and push the shadow shapes. I could always come back with an eraser and pop them out, so I'm not too worried about how dark I'm going, although I'm trying to be somewhat accurate. And then the neck comes down there to the shoulder around here, but I'm just gonna kind of pretend that's there and not really block it in all too much because it's out of focus, and I don't want the focal point to be the body. I want it to be the lower part of the face that fades into these squares. I'm not gonna worry about the eyes this time because I want the squares to start around here, kind of like it's, there's a lot of ways to explain it, but just like coming off the page upward. Also not worried about this side of the face all that much because I want most details to be here, the nose and mouth. Maybe a little bit of the chin here, kind of refining that, getting these angles down here. I think this mouth has to be closer to the outside edge of this face here, which means this should come in this way. If I look up that way, then the nose should be right around the nostril. The right nostril should be right around there. And the left nostril should be right around here, although it's really dark around here, so I'll just lighten up this area here. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with where that is. I'm going to take a old paper towel here, cut off a piece, kind of blend it together here. Smoother texture. But we do lose a little bit of our darkest darks, and we're going to pop in some of these highlights and push the rest of the values back a little bit, make them darker, since I'm pulling out the white of the page as like if the light is hitting the face, kind of mimicking that light. Lips are three-dimensional, so we have a shadow area, cast shadow, Terminator shadow, and a highlight and midtone area, because they're two-dimensional. If you want to learn more about that, I do have a course actually available on my website, a drawing course, basic drawing course. click the link in my bio in my Instagram or my TikTok or whatever, or just visit madcharcoal.com/shop, and I could have my work for sale there, and my drawing course, and my drawing kit with pen pastel too. So you could buy that there if you'd like, or you could just find it yourself for a little bit cheaper. Let's see here. Trying to bring that kind of back out, and then I can tell that this nostril is being lost here. So let's try to block that out a little bit, and by pulling the color there. And there's like this line here for this nose, and I look at the reference and there's no line there. It just kind of blends into the rest of the face. I'm gonna remove that, or try my best to, because I think I might have marked it a little too hard. It's okay. Kind of remove that. All right. We're getting where we need to go. No, it's just, I use the eraser a lot instead of just for fixing mistakes, more so for carving the image out, lightening areas, almost like sculpting. The drawing material is just a subtraction material instead of an additive material, which the charcoal or pastel or whatever you're working with is, because you can also work with charcoal on top of this pan pastel. But I kind of like the organic nature of this pastel. It's very soft and malleable, so I'm just trying to stick with it for this drawing. Kind of unify it a little bit. If I was making a more refined drawing, I'd probably switch over to charcoal after I had a good base with this pastel. A little bit more of a shadow there, shadow here. Looks like we went too far right here. It's okay, we'll clean that up right there. Okay, I'm pretty happy with where we're at currently. This is a little too dark over here, so I'm just gonna remove some of that. More shadow there. Looking at it as a whole, this could be darker over here. And I'm gonna tone it one more time to just kind of bring it in together. Very nice, okay. Now let's get into the stencil part of this piece. This is a different one than I had earlier. Here it is. This one's a little bigger. It's more closer to 2 by 2 inches, so I'm gonna use this one. I'm just gonna dip. You could use this with any, do this with any material really, but I think it works smoothest with this pan pastel here. But you could use it with like a piece of charcoal or something like that. I'm gonna start blocking in some of these shapes, these square shapes here. You could use whatever shape you want. I just think that the square shape has the most successful, almost pixelated effect. There we go. Got one square there, and then I'm gonna overlap it here and make a lighter one without even re-dipping it, because I've lost most of the material. I'm just gonna make a lighter one, kind of overlap it off to the side a little bit. Now it looks like there's movement there, especially with the different values. Now I want to make one here, but only the top of it, so I don't start to lose this nose part here. But I'm just going to lightly do it so that I don't lose all of the features in the face, but you could still see that something's going on there. This looks very empty here, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come back in with a really dark one just off the surface, disconnected, so that we have a gap and it's kind of isolated here. You could also do this the other way, like draw the eyes and fade out from below the eyes of the portrait, right? So that it looks like it's fading down, pixelating down instead of up or to the side or whatever direction. Just kind of be creative with it. Use that as an element in your drawings or whatever you want to do. It's just a cool effect that I kind of figured out while messing with stencils while drawing. And people like it. Now let's go right here, just a little bit lighter. I want to have a few different values of squares happening around the drawing. That's pretty nice. I don't really want to make any squares here because I want the motion to go up. And it looks like since we have some light here, some dark here, I think the light here would be nice because this is a little bit dark still. put more of a mid-tone. Let's go light right here. And we are going to keep that motion, so just off-put it just a little bit, and then we're gonna go straight up from there. We've got that motion. This area is looking a little empty, but you know, this one's gonna slightly touch this really dark square there. Something like that. How are we looking? What does this need? It's important to look at your drawing for a little while, kind of study it, ask people around you so they can have fresh eyes to look at it, see what their opinion is. You don't always have to take their opinion, but it's good to have somebody else look at it. I think it looks pretty cool already as it is. I try to keep the number of squares odd instead of even so that it doesn't look too motionless. There's even number, it's probably more structured, so I want to loosen the structure. The structure I want to be in the face. So yeah, I think that's pretty good. Blend a little bit in here so that we have a little bit more of a fade effect. But that's how I go about drawing a geometrical influenced portrait. It's a little bit of a speed run there, but take your time on it. Make sure that you have your proportions and your face correct. I can't stress that enough, so that you can have a nice looking drawing and then make it a cool geometrical effect on it if you'd like. Maybe circles, which might look like bubbles, or triangles, which kind of look odd when they're actually drawn in, but I think squares look kind of normal. But yeah, I'd love to see what you guys make with that, and thanks for watching. Visit madcharcoal.com/shop if you guys want to buy any of my work or my drawing kit or my drawing course, okay? You guys are the best. I will put the link of this reference in bio. See you guys.